Bless. Bless, bless, bless. Way up I feel. Bless. It's kind of interesting because bless, it means you want more for someone. But in the name, you break it down. It's be less. So it's like, Drake in this rap battle. Hey, maybe stop doing this. It's not going well for you. You got people shooting at your house. Kendrick warned you. I'm a Drake fan, but I'm not a Drake stan. At some point, I had hope after Family Matters. And then The Heart Part 6. Like, you can't have the back-to-back diss tracks that Kendrick put out and then put out The Heart Part 6, which was just kind of underwhelming. But it's not underwhelming. Because, ironically, I would be blessed. Not me, because I don't really want to watch this. But it always fascinates me. Because I know, as a guy, we should not be okay being put in situations. But the guy that filed a lawsuit against Megan Thee Stallion because I guess he was hired for videography or something along that nature. Well, he's got a video. I guess he's got a couple videos. And apparently he was forced, quote unquote, to watch her have intercourse for the YouTube algorithm. I'm saving the word. YouTube or intercourse with another lady. And he filed a lawsuit saying he's traumatized. And I gotta say, if my biggest trauma in life was watching Megan Thee Stallion getting her pony eaten up while listening to Pony to Genuine, not all trauma's created equal. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy that's like, hey, really, dude? But really? Because you know what? Was it uninvited? Yes. Even if you're not into watching two girls go at it, at the same time, there's worse things you could witness. It's not that traumatic. I mean, you watch her music videos. She basically insinuates those acts, but with another lovely lady. And were you held at gunpoint? Probably not, because we know guns and limos and cars, it's not really something she wants to be around. Now that's real trauma, being shot in the foot. I would rather be forced, quote unquote, to watch Megan Thee Stallion and the other lady engage in some sexual activity than to be shot in the foot. Imagine being her. I would cite a Megan Thee Stallion song, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't really listen to Meg. But I am a family guy. Oh, Jesus, what we let our daughters listen to. It's crazy. But see, I wouldn't be one of those helicopter parents. Not letting my kid listen to ratchet music, as the kids say. I would just look at them, shake my head, and be like, well, because you would want to believe that you've raised a strong individual to know that this is your vice, this is your sinister, this is your, as the ladies say, your after 2 a.m. side. Your alter ego. Shout out Doechi. Now that's a perfect balance of, class, shooting shit in the swamp, and then her alter ego is this very sensual vibration, feminine side. Megan Thee Stallion just like, so like she about to scratch her ass with them nails. Oh. But you know what? All I'm saying is, to the guy, I just want to let you know you lost a few man point cards, if that's even a thing anymore. But you know what? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad girl, bad girl. But yeah. Oh yeah, and also there's that Kendrick and Drake rap beef thing going on. But you know what? What you gonna do? But yeah. Alright. Because Kendrick is a bad boy. And Drake just wants the facts. Crody. But to be fair, like, I've listened to all the diss tracks. It's been honestly like the number one thing in the world right now in terms of pop culture or just culture. Well, gotta be careful with the word culture, because it could be a very open, wide range of things you can or cannot comment or be a part of. Let's just say it's for the mainstream. It's like the biggest entertainment. Let's just say that. The biggest entertainment thing. And I haven't listened to it in a few days. It seems like the beef has kind of quieted down. To be honest, it kind of got to a point where it's kind of getting tiring. It's like, that's the thing. It's like, oh man, dropping diss tracks every day, and all this shit, like this 7 minute. It's like, as a consumer, like, it's great in the moment. It's like when you're hard. It's like all these things that run through your head, like, yeah, I'm gonna make you forget about your life, and then you come out of it and you're like, maybe I can't promise that, It's like, yeah, that's, the post-nut syndrome, after the rap beef, you realize, like, it was just too many diss tracks, too much hatred, too much volatile. It's like, how much info? Like, what do we really get with putting out personal information of individuals? That's a beautiful music and rap, I guess. Like, the only business where you don't get a lawsuit for this. This man, quote unquote, exposed that Kendrick's wife. Kendrick hasn't seen his kid in 6 months. He lives in New York. And apparently the baby might be his managers or from his label and all this shit. Like, that's a pretty big thing to put out there. Like, that would be some legal stuff. Like, hey, you put out defamation of my name or some shit, That could be a legitimate case. On the other hand, this man supposedly has lost prescriptions of Drake's fucking insomnia and all these pills he's taken. He has these addictions and gambling and escorts, And he puts it on a title track, like as a picture, basically exposing off his baggage, no pun intended, out of a suitcase. Like, you're holding on to pharmaceuticals. That seems kind of, why are you having this stuff on hand? It seems there's just it did become just a little bit too much, and it kind of became unenjoyable in a sense. If we're going to on deeper perspective, like, it's fun in the moment. It's like, oh shit, this is clever. These bars are bars, and look, the song still hit, But it's like, we always say, like, we always are in this exposing culture. We want to expose the worst of people, and then after it, we're like, was it really worth all that? Like, there's not so much proof that people are going to be tried, No one's really going to, there's going to be internet sleuths digging up about all these shit anyways, but honestly, I guess it's more just like, what's after it all, what does it really prove? Does it make Kendrick more of a GOAT in history? Does it take down Drake's greatness? It may be like, hey, this is why you don't challenge Kendrick Lamar. But at the same time, Drake wasn't afraid of it. And chances are, they all probably knew the information that was coming out. And it's weird how they heard the songs before they were put out, which is kind of weird within itself. I don't know. I think in the moment, it felt so alive. And then after, you're like, yeah, it didn't, once all the juice and once all the pheromones kind of wore off from the beef or from this back and forth they're having, I guess it's just kind of like, okay, well, it stopped life for a little bit, and then as everything, life keeps on going. So I don't know. I think all it did was just expose that no one's really objective. It's the definition of whoever we like, we are going to give them the benefit of doubt. We're going to demean or just push aside anything the other person said. Because I'll even admit, as a Drake fan, I don't really listen to Kendrick Lamar's music that much. But I respect him. I respect his music. I respect that his music has more of a deeper, real purpose than Drake's music. Like, I don't think any reasonable person would debate that. I mean, Drake's talking about Courtney from Hooters on Peachtree. Kendrick Lamar is talking about, deep-rooted issues within things that he's passionate about or things that affect him over life. So, but yeah. I don't know. But yeah. Welcome to episode 277 of the Often Be Podcast with Clint Nelson. I am your host, Clint Nelson. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, most important ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to suck some titties. And don't skip leg day if you have the meatiest of calves. Or that 80-20 ground turkey. 80% upper body, 20% lower body, which is 98% of dudes' workout plans nowadays. And they wonder why they, have bad ankles. But yeah, might be those ankle monitors from always being on parole. But yeah, recording this on May 8th, 1:21 a.m. Eastern. Yeah. Yep. Nothing like, you ever have a craving? I gotta say, you ever have a craving after a nice long day and you just have a specific taste you want? You go to the place, get it, and you're too pussy to tell them. So I got my coffee. They gave it to me. I looked at it. I was like, that does not look like the color of what I ordered. Damn, that sounded weird. But typically I get mocha, which is a chocolate. It's a brown color. And when I looked at it, it was, caramel looking-ish. And, someone brought attention to me that, you know what, Clint? I aspire to be like you. You always find the good in everything. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Be like me. Find the good. Always be optimistic. Look for the good in people, not the faults. And let me tell you where that fucks you in the ass. When you order a mocha iced coffee and they hand you it and you look at it, let me show you the color. Looks pretty beigeish, caramelish, like there's nothing in it. I looked at it, I was like, you know what? Maybe he put vanilla in it. Maybe he put a flavor that I got the other night. I'm a regular. Maybe he just misheard me. It's fine. Honestly, as long as they put some type of flavor in it, I'm not too picky. I was that optimistic. I looked at the label. It said mocha. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Maybe you just decide, let me surprise this guy. Nope, there was no flavor. It was just pure cream and sugar coffee, like probably a grown man should drink coffee. Well, technically black coffee would be the most manliest thing. But, creme de la creme. Show me the money. But I was that optimistic. I didn't sit there and take a sip and be like, hey, I pulled away. I was like, let me take a sip. And I'm like, fuck. And then I was like, I don't feel like driving an extra 20 feet back. Going on home. And here I am. Just because I didn't want to deal with it. Just because I was optimistic and didn't say anything in the moment. Now here I am drinking bland ass coffee. Probably the way it's meant to be drinking. With all the extra sugar and the flavor. But yeah. Like they say, I wish I could be more like you. In this situation, no you fucking don't. Be like me. Be like Mike. I will say, it does actually feel like I'm drinking caffeine because I don't really taste much of anything. But I feel the effect of caffeine. So maybe in that way, this is a wake-up call for me. Stop being a 12-year-old boy hoping it tastes like a blueberry donut. But yep. Alright, so what's going on out there? I haven't realized I've been doing this less and less. Not on purpose, I've had opportunities a few times from a being here standpoint, but I just didn't have much to offer. I'm kind of someone, I'm only going to do this when I have something to offer. Typically when I do that, it's actually a lot more than when I force it. Forced entry. I would come to your front door, but it seems the back door is more convenient, believe it or not. Yep. That's a butt joke. Speaking of jokes that involve the butts, Tom Brady had a roast. Apparently, Tom Brady did a roast of himself. I had no idea this shit was happening. Like, legitimately, people do their reposting. They tape it off their phone. I guess it was live on Netflix. And Tom Brady just got obliterated. A lot of his wife leaving him for the jiu-jitsu coach. Probably got tangled up a few times in between his legs and was just like, hey, $500 million during an NFL career. Apparently, it could get you a lot of things, but can't keep your wife from a jiu-jitsu instructor. So, what are you gonna do? People are like, actually, she made more money than him. And it's like, yeah, at the beginning. But, when you play in the NFL for 22 years at quarterback, his paychecks add up over longevity, See, he planned it out right, Here's the thing people don't give Tom Brady credit for. He's like, yeah, she's making more money than me now when I'm year 3 in the NFL. But he's like, I keep winning. Inflation. People love football. Money's going to go through the fucking roof. She's going to get old. She can't model anymore. She's still beautiful, but for some reason when someone turns 38, even they still look the same, like, they can't walk down a runway for 25 seconds. They lost it, He's like, I'm going to have her have my kids, take care of them, stress her out, make her leave her career 20 years later. That's how I'm going to get ahead financially. Then I can manipulate her. It sounds fucked up, but trust me. That's Tom Brady's secret, not Victoria. Anywho, but yeah, I've never understood why models get paid a crazy, like that whole, especially back, who the fuck is actually modeling anymore? Like, I know it happens. I know they had these creepy shows in Milan at these random side ventures with 800 people there, and then they have celebrities on the catwalk area, and it's just people going up and down looking at a fucking dress that you can literally just see on a mannequin and be like, yeah, that looks pretty good, you know. But no, I gotta have this person who hasn't eaten in 4 days, feels like shit, does crack, and has no energy to do what they're doing. And they're in the backstage, like, you know, tightening up, you know, not drinking any water. Basically, it's like a bodybuilding show. Isn't it ironic that bodybuilding is the look of the most healthiest people in the world, but it has the most unhealthy effects long term? And it's actually very unhealthy what they have to do to get that look. It's the same with models. They are the epitome of fitness, health, not being obese, and all that stuff. But for some reason, they have the most unhealthy lifestyle to maintain that figure for the most part. And it's weird how I think we automatically always assume, we always as a society or culture, Jesus, I hate that. We love struggle. We like it when people have to do hard shit to look apart. And it's hard. It's hard doing what you have to do to maintain a figure, modeling, especially with age. Because realistically, with age, you know, certain things just don't shape the way you used to. And then for bodybuilding, you know, you take all the Winstraw, the Anavar, and all that shit. Depending on your genetics and how well you take care of that, it could fall off a cliff real fucking quick. But we look at modeling and bodybuilding. And really, when you think about what bodybuilding is, when it's Mr. Olympia, the bodybuilding shows, it's all about just looking good, walking out there, how you're posing. It's more about how you know how to utilize your body parts than it is actually being the strongest, the healthiest people in the world. Because the stuff they have to do to lose that weight when they put on all this size, up and down, the prep, it is insanity. It's inhumane. Now they get paid for it once you get to a certain level, you know, but it's our fascination with it. We reward it. So that's why, you know, we always want to promote healthiness in the world. Like, that's when people talk about healthiness. And then this is what we pay. We promote unhealthy ventures that are deemed to be healthy. You know, so I don't know, you know, there's my 2 cents for the week. Which is weird because it really is one of those boom or bust businesses, right? Modeling is one of... Anyways, getting back to the point. It's like you see Gisele Bundchen's net worth. It's like, I think I checked. It was like hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, it's crazy. You think, like, just for putting on clothes she didn't even fucking make? Like... It's like, I'm not demeaning the importance of modeling. Trust me, as a model citizen. Huh? Oh, Jesus. I could really use a Modelo. Huh? I've actually never had that. It's considered a Mexican beer. Well, it's not really, but, you know. I've never seen anyone who wasn't in a Modelo commercial. And Dos Equis. Dos Equis seems like a more, you know, bastardized version. It's like we basically bought it out, use the main Dos Equis guy. And I don't even think he's actually Mexican. Or he's not even actually like, you know, what you would deem to be. I think it's like actually some white dude who like from Russia or some shit, and he could just do the accent. I don't know. I'm just spitting nonsense. But any woohoo, yepperoo. Yeah, you know, I don't even know like what would, but it's just crazy. Like, but that type of modeling, I guess it has switched to influencer, right? Like Instagram influencer, people taking pictures. But modeling doesn't have that same cachet, right? It's different now. The same way that bodybuilding, the most famous bodybuilders, with the exception of Chris Bumstead, from a popularity standpoint, aren't always the ones that are winning first place. A lot of bodybuilders are really just random guys who have a channel who are just getting their IB Pro card. Like, go on YouTube. Sam Sulek, he's never competed. Max Taylor, Alex Eubank. The people that are actually competing in these Mr. Olympias or these Arnold Classics, a lot of them have like a fan base, but it's not like worldwide. Chris Bumstead is the only one who has the best of both worlds, where he has a cachet, plus entertainment, plus genuine guy, plus a brand, plus a supplement company that he's basically partnered with. And, which by the way, essential pre-workout, blue raspberry, CBum. It's really good. So, he's the one that checks all the boxes, which makes it, like, it's almost like if you are not a pro, you can have a big channel, you can have a sponsorship and shit like that, but you'll be limited in your family. Then there's plenty of these IFBB pros that they kind of have a channel and they have a workout channel, but they don't reach the status of the bigger ones or of these other guys that aren't nearly as big, who aren't nearly as lean, who aren't nearly as serious about what they're influencing about. And then you have these guys that are actually living the day-to-day life. And these guys are getting hundreds of thousands, millions more views a month, a year, blah, blah, blah. So that's just an interesting take from my head. Yipperoo. So, if the cat is out of the bag, how come she hasn't meowed? Because if they're in the bag, doesn't that mean they're just trying to do laundry? Then you accidentally throw them in the washer. Ooh. But thank God it was out of service. And they'll have little signs like, oh, no beads in this one. Don't you love it? You know, and actually, here's a little laundry room rant, right? First of all, I just need to get a laundry. I just need to get a washer dryer myself. I'm fucking tired of driving to this fucking laundromats. Just the fuck. And it's not even crazy expensive, but the whole task of having to go there. After you wash and dry your clothes, you're there for an hour, 45 minutes, 2 hours. The drive there, the drive back. And it's like, bruh. You become a lazy fuck where you don't even want to, like, you do your laundry every other week, you know. You stretch out how clean your clothes are. You don't think it smells, but, you know, it probably does a little. You start getting rashes on your underwear because you're like, did I wear this pair already? Yep, I wore that on a long-ass day. I most certainly did. I've already sweated my rash away in this one. But don't you love it when these laundromats, and I see what's going on. I know they're going to say, like, these big-ass washers that can hold, like, it will say they can hold, like, 4 loads of laundry, 6 loads of laundry. But then they put a line, you know, they put a line on the circle window where you look into it, and they'll be like, do not fill your laundry past here. And it's literally the halfway point, right? I'm not saying fill it at the top, but you're really telling me I can only fill halfway. It says this is what's recommended, so you get your full. It's like, no, let me tell you what it really is. You want me to use a whole nother fucking washer when I could throw 4 more shirts, couple pairs of socks, 3 pairs of poop streaked underwear in here, and guess what? It's not going to change when it's in here for 28 minutes being supersonic around, alright? I put OxyClean, I put all the fabric softener, all the fucking shit in there. Trust me, these bitches are going to be clean after 29 minutes. Me putting those extra 7 pairs of garments and socks is not going to take away from anything. If it does, I want my money back. But neither here nor there. They have the audacity to put this line being like, oh, this is just to make sure you get the full effect of... It's like, no, let me tell you what it is. Because they want you to feel like, oh shit, I got to use a whole nother laundry thing, pay an extra $3 to $4. And then, oh, it's like, in the dryer, yeah, to an extent, you can still feel it like 2/3 of the way up in the dryer. And guess what? You just put in a few extra minutes, pay the extra 50 cents. It'll be nice and dry for you. But these fucking like, you don't think I know what the fuck you're doing? Oh no, don't use Tide Pod. Don't use beads. It's like, okay. Don't use powders. They literally say don't use powders. It's like, well, do anyways. And they come out freshy fresh. They try to do everything to gauge as much money out of you as fucking possible. It is not because they care if you have a nice wet spot on the crotch of your jeans. It is not because they worry that, oh, well, if they fill it up past here, their underwears aren't going to be clean fully. Like, no. It is all because they want you to pay. They do not give a fuck about... Now, I'll take that back to an extent. Because they do have things. Use the app. You know, for every $10 you spend, you get one back, and that's all fucking great. But they get all that money back when, you know, you follow their lines. Don't fill past here. Don't put too much here. Don't put too many. It's like, hey, you know what? If you don't want to put too much, how about you have 3 of your fucking washers not broken every fucking time I go there? All right, it's really not that hard. Why don't you not charge a 28-cent fee just because you gotta use a little extra water? All right, how about that? God. And I gotta, you know, this is why I always go at a time of night where there's the least amount of people there. Sometimes you'll go a whole 2 hours and not see a single soul, which is typically a bad sign. But if you do see some people at the time, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., it's probably going to be potentially very awkward encounters. You always get the people that are like, hey, I had this happen recently. Hey, do you mind if I use a few dryer sheets? And I was like, sure. I gave them 3. It was a small. No, you know what? Didn't bat an eye about it. You know, if you just ask for something, I have no problem. As long as it's like, you know, where I could tell that you came there prepared and had everything, but maybe you ran out of dryer sheets or you forgot. Like, I get it. It's very cheap. I'm not going to fret. When someone, the second they get there, like you are there, I'm already sitting down, still spending the wash for 8 minutes. I'm sitting down, ignoring you. Typically signed, you know, even though they have vending machines where you can spend $1.50 to get some detergent. But no, you know what? People go there. And this is where it really irks me. And you can tell the people that go there and they just flat out come there not wanting to pay for anything. And they just ask you. And then your dickhead is like, oh, well, I guess I'm not going to get my clothes washed. Like, yep, I guess that's what happens when you come to the laundromat with no money or any things to clean it with. Yep, that is what's going to happen. Okay. And I had an incident. It was probably 3 weeks, a month ago. I went about 1 or 2 a.m. around that time. I get there, it's just me. It's probably about 30 minutes into after being there. I'm already in my state of mind. I'm in my, not homeostasis, I'm in my zen zone. I'm watching some shit. I'm actually really getting into a video watch, like fully engaged. Like I was really fascinated. And this guy comes up to me. He does this whole thing, like with his finger up. Like he just got there a minute before. He comes in with his bags dragging. And you could just tell he came there with no detergent, no nothing. I'm like, this is like, as weird. I can understand, a woman that's used to anywhere they go, guys, like, they will spill, like, oh, girls go anywhere, oh, can I have this? Like, just take the whole bottle, lady. And, to be a little flirtatious and all that. When you're a grown-ass man and you walk into a laundromat at 1 to 2 a.m., this is in the middle of the day where there's going to be like 28 people and there's too many fucking people. Then you could just like accidentally, just grab someone while they're not looking, ask someone, be a good citizen. You went there regardless of who would be there. Like, no matter who's going to be there, they're going to say, he's like, hey, I left my detergent and stuff at home. Do you mind if I use some? I was like, sorry, I can't do that. Because I actually didn't buy this detergent. This is my girlfriend's. This is natural. This is like not the cheapest of stuffs. And, I'm sorry, I just can't do it. He's like, come on, man. Your girl don't have to know. I'm like, first of all, why are you saying my girl don't have to know? Like, we're about to do something. like in my head, I'm like, that's a weird way to approach this. Hey, your girl don't have to know. It's like, are we in Atlanta right now? Because it's getting a little fruity in here. I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. Can't do it. But I did offer, like, hey, if you need some dryer sheets, I got you. I'll give you some. Even though I didn't pay for those either. But, a few dryer sheets are a little cheaper than this detergent. Whatever. He's like, well, I'm not going to really need the dryer sheets if I can't wash it. I'm like, good point. That's what I'm like, you know what? You're right. Good point. I guess you won't need the dryer sheets. I was like, yeah, sorry about that. So I go back to just watch what I'm doing. Like, I was like, you know what? Maybe this guy realized there's 2 vending machines where you could pay $1.50. And this man, literally 2 minutes later, interrupts me. And these are the type of people that bother me. Like, they're really just going to keep asking. After I explain the first time, then you can sense their slight attitude, like it's my responsibility for your lack of preparation or for your way of just trying to get through doing everything without contributing anything to yourself. That's the shit that bothers. You're a grown ass man, at least 41, and he had like this slight like urgent, like, it had that type of feeling like, oh man, like, I have a daughter type of shit. It's like, and I'm looking at this man's basket, first of all. It's like literally like a small, like there's no more than like 18 pieces of clothes in this thing. And I was like, he was like, hey, and this is where it's like, hey, do you have any quarters? And I'm like, quarters? Like, no, I don't have quarters. And this man said, you came to a laundromat with no quarters? I'm like, you came to a laundromat with no quarters? You came to a laundromat with no laundry detergent? You came to a laundromat with no dryer sheets? You failed the 3 main checkbox for any standard fucking laundromat. And you want to have the audacity to sit here and say, oh, you came out with no quarters. It didn't have a sense of like, oh, it's like you came out here with no quarters. I paid with the card because I have a bank account. I'm not a sketchy ass human being. How does that sound? All right, Mister. Oh, I'm gonna go to a random ass laundromat as a young stud man, thinking because I'm a white boy that I'm just gonna give you out of guilt. Like, no, look here, you mixed Colombian looking guy. Because you can tell that sense. And I honestly felt there was a racial aspect to it. And I don't like bringing the race card up. But here's what I will say. You get sense when, like, if I say no and I was respectful, it's like, oh, oh, that's how you, where if someone who is his skin color or someone who was at least like a relatively understanding of being a minority of some sort, his approach and his reaction would have been a lot different. If we're going to be honest about it. That's just the way it is. I'm not trying to be a truth teller. I'm just saying that when people feel, look, as being a white guy, I get it. I said no because it wasn't mine. Like, I'm already jacking my girlfriend's natural laundry detergent, Like, if it was just some bullshit, Glad or Tide or whatever the fuck that, your skin's going to itch after putting it on anyways, and by all means, I probably would have let you have like 5 little cups. Because, I am one of those assholes that still pour the laundry detergent in the cap and do it, even though that's not actually how you're supposed to measure it. But, here I am. Home alone. Kevin. But it was that underlying tension. And the man, I guess to fast forward the story, the man realized after a few minutes, and I told this man, like, hey, there's actually, I don't know if I was like, there's actually a vending machine over here if you need to get like some small laundry detergent for like $1.50 or $2. And he's like, oh, I'm not getting that shit. That's a ripoff. I'm like, all right, man. You know what? You're the one that came to a laundromat at 2 a.m. with no alternatives to get this shit. You can't really be picky at that point. But you know what? These are the type of people we gotta be around. These are the type of mentalities we gotta just be okay with. Just people that go to places. And he really had a I'm the hottest bitch on the block mentality where I'm just gonna go somewhere and someone's gonna take care of it. And this is a grown-ass man. I don't know, man. What do I know? Yeah. Moral of the story is, essentially, after that, he kind of walked around. He kept, pivoting his head around, just kind of figuring out what to do. And he just got his stuff, and he left. And I thought the dude was about to come back with the gun, like, give me the detergent. And I've been like, I still probably, he could have had a gun in my face. I'd be like, you do not understand. I will die. I will die behind pride. Which is kind of weird, It's very extreme to think about. Because I know it sounds stupid to die over something like that. But at the same time, my instinct would be, if someone were to try to rob me in my car, they could have a gun to my face. I know how stupid this sounds. Like, if I'm in a parking lot and I just get to my car, let's just say 8 o'clock at night, some guy comes up with as they say, a shiesty, or they come with or not even, they just come and threaten to take my vehicle. I'm going to be like, I know it sounds stupid to be like, you're going to have to kill me. But at the same time, I honestly do feel like I would have to be, you're going to have to take me out of this bitch. I'm not just giving you this. And that sounds stupid because you know what's going to happen? 85% of the time, they're going to shoot you in the fucking face and take it anyways. But when you have a relationship with someone you bought, everything you've gone through, how much of yourself, your financial, and they always say like, oh, it's not worth losing your life over. It's like, you know what? I sacrificed 8 months of my pay. If you add up how much my vehicle costs over how much I've average made, like I've essentially cost 8 months of my life to pay for this vehicle. That's almost a year, plus interest. Don't even get me started on interest. So you're going to tell me 8 to 9 months of my life of just paying for this vehicle over 5 or 6 years. You are telling me that is not worth dying for. Yeah, how does that feel? When you break it down. See, that's the thing. It's not worth dying over. Just give them your wallet. Just get, no. You don't have to beat the shit out of me to get this. I'm not just going to let you take it. That's the world we live in. It's just give it to them. It's like, nah, you're going to do more. I'm sorry. Now, I know maybe if you have a kid in the car, that's different. All right, I get it, But me, just me, nah. Because the things I would have to live with for not fighting back for something that was mine and just have an empty threat of some asshole taking my shit, fuck you. Fuck you, the audacity thing. You just put a gun in my face and think you're going to take this car that has bird poop on the backseat window. You know what? Go the fuck ahead. But you're going to have to fight for this shit. And that's the problem. We don't have enough resistance towards people that steal or that want to do this shit. And that's why they go around and we have these things like in California where it's petty theft if it's under $1,000 or whatever the fuck it is. It's we need to make people fear just being tonight I can just take this vehicle because people are too afraid. If you are in a position to fight back, whether it's from a physical standpoint, you can hire someone to fight back for you. Fight back. At least fight for what you give a shit about, If it's whatever. If it's a few dollars in your wallet, whatever. But if you're taking my fucking vehicle, if you were trying to rob my house, if you were trying to fucking, take something that has a lot of time I put in to be able to have that, a prized possession, something that I can file on tax returns. Damn, still gotta do those. I feel like Wesley Snipes sound themselves out. Oh, I guess you could say I'm waiting for the blade to return. Or just don't audit me. But yeah, I don't know. That's a little rant. Yeah. It's just crazy that people go places and they just think hey, if I show up, someone will bail me out. And then they'll blame, this is why we don't take care of each other anymore. It's in order for a community that help take care of you. Let's say you live in a city. Let's say you live in a city where you all kind of go to a laundromat. If every time you go to a laundromat, people have to give some to you, and you have never, during, let's just say, 4 months, I know I'm really stretching some shit here, and over that 4 months, when you've never had anything to offer in that laundromat, you are not a contributor to your community. You're not a contributor to the thing that you claim is not there for you. You are a taker with no potential to ever give back. And those are the type of people that we just let it happen. And when people say no, you're the bad guy, you get attitude towards you. It should just be simple, hey, I appreciate it, no problem. It's, the thing is, if you would have just pretended when you got there, oh, man, looking through your bag, oh, man, fuck, I forgot. If you would just pretended, I could at least pretend to sympathize with you. And at least pretend you know what? At least the guy put on a show. Even if I know he's lying out of his ass. When you just go in there and just off the bat like, hey. And you didn't even look homeless. You didn't even look like a guy that was that much struggling. Like, there's levels to you could judge a struggle. And I understand that this is a big blame. But you could tell when someone is like in the deep struggle. When someone's in the struggle, but it's kind of because they have called out a few times that week. They're part-time, but they don't really meet part-time requirements. And they're always complaining that they work too much and blah, blah, blah. They're 18 hours a week. And they want to get the most out of life, but do the bare minimum to not get anything back in return. They always have the saying, you get in what you get out what you put into some. People want to put the least amount into time of sacrifice to contribute to their community, contribute to society, contribute to a world, at least contribute something. But they want the most in return, right? So that's where I think this type of struggle. Barely enough to contribute as a contributing member of society, but then they want everyone to take care of them. When really, if you just did a little bit more for yourself, you would feel better. And then you would have the opportunity to actually contribute something to others. Because no one in their right mind would knowingly go somewhere with no money, with no products to do the thing and get mad at someone else or have that underlying tone of when they ask and you say no and not actually feel like that person was entitled to help them. I don't know. It's a crazy world we live in. That's where the real beef. We don't need this Drake and Kendrick first world problem beats of, you lost touch with reality. Type of beef. We're over here. The real beef is within the beef. But yeah. On the double with cheese. Honestly, I'll say this. The only way Drake can rectify himself, he's got to drop a timestamp diss track. Like a legitimate, 3 a.m. in Compton, in terms of Kendrick's home. Like some type of 5 a.m. or 1 a.m. It's got to be an a.m. It's got to be that type of, this is the type when you listen to this type of night, it hits different. Because I'm going to go deep down in the underworld about you. It's got to be a timestamp directed towards Kendrick. That is the only way he could rectify himself. Legitimately. Otherwise, I think it's just kind of played itself out. But yeah. Anyways. I think that's it for this one. Alright guys. That was episode 277 of the Offbeat Podcast with Clint Nelson. I'm your host, Clint Nelson. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Most important, ladies, men, gentlemen, even if you're Megan Thee Stallion's car, don't forget to suck some titties. Let's be honest. If you're hired for Megan Thee Stallion, it's all on the table. Hands on your knees. Shake that ass for Clint. But shake that ass for free. Dave. From Chick-fil-A. Truett Kathy. Alright. Oh no, Dave is Wendy's. Ah, shit. Oh, someone has a frosty tip. I get it. Wendy's frosty tip. Hands on your knees. Alright, guys. Have a great day, morning, evening.